Hey there, everybody. My name's Kevin, and I'm actually just stopping by today just to go through a little bit of some situations that I've gone through over the last month. And kind of the weird part about it is I'm a normal guy, 45 years old. I've been with the same company, a major pharmaceutical, for approximately the last 20 years. And I've dealt with depression and anxiety most of my life, but for the most part, I've been able to keep it under control without any major issues. When I was younger in my 20s, I think it seemed to affect me a little bit more than it did as I got older. I feel like I just wanted to get online because, of course, I went through a situation with my company over the last few months where things were not really what they were chalked up to be, and I was put out on paid administrative leave, and it came back as there was nothing, no issues. There was just a misunderstanding, and then, of course, a few months later, they put me on paid administrative leave for something that had nothing to do with me. They told me it was for my protection, and then it leads into termination. That part is something that I'm dealing with, and that's something that is, my problem. But I think that when it comes to depression and anxiety, I had not had a trigger to where my depression really started to get me into those dark thoughts in a long time. It'd been nearly 14 years. I'd been with the pharmaceutical company for over 17. Right when I started, I was having some issues then, but I kind of, from that point on, everything in my life really started to be, on the straight and narrow. I was on the right track. Everybody was in my family, all my surroundings was healthy and happy. I just felt like it was good. And I did have some anxiety here and there. I did deal with it, but the depression part was okay. And sure enough, the first investigation that I dealt with my company that had no substance behind it whatsoever triggered me. And for those who do not have a lot of depression and anxiety, being triggered puts you in a place that is tough. And the one thing I do love about 2019 and the way America is today is they're not shying away from the whole depression and anxiety movement. And I hate to even call it a movement. It's been there forever. It's just finally getting the attention that it needed and deserved. I don't use depression and anxiety as a crutch for me. I never have, and I never will. It does hinder you, but I always feel like, you have to, keep it separate, and try to fight and fight every day. And that is the message that I want to deal with is you have to fight. Even though I was really dealt a tough hand at my job, at the end of the day, I go back to the earliest moment when my father would always say to me, Kev, no matter what, the sun always rises. And I know that is a very easy and simple cliche, and I know that we use it all the time, but at the end of the day, it does. And you know what? I hate the other cliche. People always want to shy away from suicide and talking about it, but I think that is probably one of the most difficult problems that we have is people do shy away from the subject because the subject is awful. I've dealt with it a lot in my life. I've had some people, just recently that have, taken their lives. And, for those that, I always will hear and I always go back and forth and people saying, oh, they're so selfish. How could they do that? Listen, I'm going to tell you something. For someone that has been in that dark place, at times in their life, suicide is the last option that person wants to do. I promise you that. I always said, my parents would always try to get me to explain what my mindset was when you get to that point. And it's like, I always broke it down as every morning you get up and you try to think of a reason why you should get up and get out of bed. And you know what? It takes you less than a half a millisecond to come up with a reason. But when you're in that dark place, those reasons start to become harder and harder to find a reason to get out of bed. And I know that may sound like that's impossible to people that don't suffer with this terrible, ailment, but it is. I can promise you, I can almost guarantee, obviously there are always circumstances that can be changed, but if a close loved one or someone that was a big part of your life has unfortunately committed suicide, it's not because they were taking the easy way out or they were trying to be selfish. It's just that in my eyes they ran out of reasons. And dealing with this, I've been married for 6 years now, and my wife is a physician's assistant, and she is a godsend. She, I hate to Jerry Maguire you, but she really does complete me because she understands when I'm starting to go down that trigger point and whatnot. So I always made a promise to her that, first of all, suicide is not an option with me. I've come to terms with that is not something that I will ever come to. But however, if I was ever in a dark place, I always made a deal that if it got darker and darker, that I would give her a chance. I would never do anything drastic without giving her a chance to tell me those reasons every single day I'm like, I should be alive. And I guess that's the way you have to take it. And you know what? Surround yourself with good people. If you get around good people and positive people, I'll tell you what, it makes all the world. I've sent out a few cries for help, and if you can do this, I think this will help you immensely. But a few close friends and family really truly only know about my psychological well-being. I'm a pretty successful pharmaceutical employee. I've had a great career. I have a great wife. I'm financially stable. Everything on paper looks good. But when you're someone like me that's really outgoing and loud and trying to be the life of the party, it also becomes exhausting. And what I mean by that is it's very easy to pick up on if I'm not going through a great day because I'm not boisterous, I'm not loud. A quiet person, it's very easy to hide because they're always quiet. But for someone like me, it becomes exhausting not trying to hide the mental illness, but trying to put on a happy face for my loved ones so they don't worry about me, because I'd rather just only worry about myself. I don't want to put other people out, and I know that's the way everybody thinks. But if we can just kind of change that mindset a little bit to say that it's okay to cry for help. I had two close friends, my two closest female friends recently, locally, and I flat out told them that I was crying for help after I went through that trigger at work. I didn't know. I hadn't been there in a long time. Things had changed. I was a little bit older now. I hadn't been in that dark place, and my four core friends, my two high school friends and my two female friends, consistently checked in on a daily basis to make sure that I had a reason, and I had a good reason, because they always came up with a great reason on why I should still be getting up in the morning and still be ticking and still be living a productive life. But the suicide avoidance, I think, is the hard part. And if you do think that someone is maybe going down that path, you don't actually have to bring up the word or go down that path, but try to give them those reasons and let them know that, you know what, give me that opportunity. And for those of you out there that don't have anybody that has that person to give you that reason in the morning, look up me. I am me. Text me. I don't care. I want to make a promise that I will try to help anybody that I can, because you know what? I really don't think that I could have done it without my friends. My one friend, I got to say it's the four of them. I would say, if not every day, every other day, they are saying, hey, the sun always rises. You got this, man. You're going to pick it up. And it's not about losing the job, because I'm not worried about picking up a job at all. I feel like I'm pretty well versed. I have some good experience. I think I'm marketable. I'm a good person. I'm not worried about the job. I've already had some offers, and it's only been a week or two. But at the end of the day, when you have something that's ripped from you that you really have a lot of passion about and that you love, no matter what, whether you rebound or not, it affects the insides. And for suicide, for me, when my friend passed away about a month ago, and I know that this might sound sick and demented, but sometimes when you struggle with mental illness and depression and anxiety, when someone commits suicide, there almost becomes a little bit of a jealousy factor in there. And I know that I know it probably doesn't make sense to about 80% of you, but I know that 20% of you out there know what I'm talking about, because that person, they ran out of reasons, and that is where it pains me, because I know that I could have helped them find reasons. But at the end of the day, they're at peace now, and I don't know what their suffering was, and I don't know why it resorted to the final permanent solution for a temporary problem cliche, but it did. And from someone that else has struggled, it sometimes becomes a jealousy thing, because you want to feel sometimes at peace, but you know what? At the end of the day, you have to exhaust every opportunity to find peace on the living side of life. There's too many people out there, and I know that you people that don't think anybody doesn't love you, or anybody doesn't want to be around you, or what might be going wrong on your day, on that particular day, there are people out there that need you and need you in their life, and it would absolutely wreck them. And from the selfishness aspect, I made that promise to my wife that I would never go down that path unless I gave her an ample opportunity to say what she needed to say. And I know right there that it'll never happen, because my wife will always give me the positive reinforcement that I probably will need at that time to move forward. And for those of you people that don't have that, stay away from the negative people. Just surround yourself with the positive people, because the positive people, if you're laughing and having fun, and you look at the positive side and don't dwell on the negatives like some people just have, I don't want to pick on, aspects of people, but some people just, you could go on vacation and have 100 positive things to go on during that vacation. And there might have been 2 things that went wrong, maybe something in a restaurant or whatnot. And the person will dwell on those 2 things and rather talk about them. That's where you need to shift the gears. I don't say stay away from those people permanently, but surround yourself with the people that want to talk about the positive stuff, and that want to make you laugh, and that want to make you see the good side of you. We don't want to dwell on the negative, because if you dwell on the negative long enough, and that will be one thing that I will truly take away from the pharmaceutical experience, is they really taught me that as a manager and as a leader, that if you just constantly keep your team upbeat and positive, then everything else around you is better. Work life is better. Productivity will be better. Just the way they treat other people will be better. But if you sit there and just create this environment that is consistently negative, that is what you're going to get. You're going to get people that one bad apple can really ruin a bunch, and not only in the workforce, but in your personal life too. So if you need that person to tell you that you're worth getting up in the morning, I'll do it every single day for you, I promise. But don't give up. You can never give up. We need to stay. I know that sometimes being at peace sounds, like really appealing and whatnot, but you need to stay on the living side of life. You need to fight, and you need to fight until you can fight no more. I don't know if I will touch anybody or if I'll reach anybody, but if one person sees things the way I see things through my eyes, it can be a tough life. And being the positive person that's always happy and telling jokes can sometimes be exhausting when you have this other side of life that is inside of you. But if you keep yourself with the positive people, you realize that the sun will rise. And you know what? It's okay to cry for help. I'll tell you what, I don't think I've got a reception from my one friend when I grabbed her on the arm and I said to her, I'm kind of crying for help right now. Like, I need you. And you know what? At the time I was like, I don't want to hinder them, but you know what? At the time I also wanted to stay on the living side of life. So I realized that I needed that person, and I know that they make me feel better about myself, and they make me see the sides of me that I don't usually see. And I know that there is a lot more good inside of me than I'm willing to admit. I know that I have a lot of good aspects of my life, and I have some bad aspects too, but who doesn't? But I can promise you, your good always outweighs your bad. But just keep positive. Realize that sun out there, that big hot thing, is going to rise in the morning, no matter how bad of a day it is. And it's okay to cry for help. It's okay to ask for help. And do it from the person that's going to be positive. Embrace that. And you know what? If you can't find that person, send me a message. I will do it. Every morning I'll send you a reason on why you should be alive. Because you know what? It's easy when you have a positive outlook and you surround yourself with positive people. It only becomes difficult when you're in a very dark environment and you're surrounding with people that like to feed into that dark environment. So if you stay positive and stay with positive people, life will get easier and life will get better. And financial struggles, they're with everybody. We all have faced them. But you know what? Money can't buy happiness. I mean, you're going to see people with mental illness that have all kinds of money. And usually sometimes the more money you have, sometimes the worse off you can be. Stay humble, stay positive, and stay around the people that are going to be there the most for you. I want to send a shout out to my 4 friends, and I know you know who you are, but I had 4 core friends, 2 males and 2 females, and no doubt my family, my sister and brother are rocks. My parents are beyond rocks. But my wife, day in and day out, knows every movement that I make because she can pick up on it. But you know what? Just being around her makes me happy, and being around her makes me positive, and being around my friends and family makes me positive. So my dark days are mainly behind me, but a few months ago when I was triggered due to a issue at work, it made me really sympathize for the people out there that haven't turned the corner. And you know what? You guys can do it. I did it. You can turn the corner. I'm not medicated. I get up in the morning, even though I had a dark couple weeks. I cried for help. My friends barreled me through it, and now I'm out there looking for a new job and looking to start a new chapter of my life and putting that piece of the puzzle behind me. I know a company that turned their back on me when I needed them most is a little heart-wrenching, but you know what? I'll get through it, and I'm going to listen to the people. And there's my one friend that consistently has been bugging me to get out of that job because she thinks that I have a bigger passion for life and that I could do much bigger things. So when I was separated from my last company, I don't think she could have been any happier because she says the sky's the limit. And you know what? I'm going to listen to her because she is successful in just about everything that she does. And for her to have that kind of faith in me is respect for her that I don't have for many people. And she thinks and has that equal respect for me. So I'm going to build off of that, and I'm going to surround myself with her because she believes in me, which makes me believe in myself. So find that person that believes in you like I have, and run with it. And if you need a person, if you feel alone and you don't want to talk about it because you feel like people don't understand, send me a message. I'll send you that text every day. And I promise you, I'll find a reason every day for you to watch that sunrise. But hang in there. Stay positive. You can do this. Stay on the living side of life. You have to stay on the living side of life. The at peace, at rest. You know what? You can do that when you're 90 years old and you've lived a good, healthy, positive life. But right now, I need you on the positive side because the thought of what it would do to your friends and family if they weren't given that opportunity and given that cry for help. And this is the way I'm going to leave you. If you think that you're going down that path of suicide, what can a cry for help hurt? If you cry for help to 3 or 4 people and it didn't work, then you know what? You can at least say you tried. But I'm going to promise you that if you cry for help for positive people that are the right people and the people that have your best interest at heart, suicide won't be an option anymore, and you're going to stay on the living side of life. My name's Kevin. I just threw this the first video I think I've ever thrown together, but I hope that, you know what, if I can reach one person and really make that person realize that you're not alone and that sun is going to rise. Stay positive, stay with positive people, and don't ever give up, and stay on the living side of life. You got this. You got this. And I am me if you need the help. I will push and push, and I will annoy you until you can't even believe how bad I can annoy you. That is another good characteristic of me. I can annoy the best of them. Stay positive and stay on the living side of life. Thanks.